Gather around the fire, my friends. Welcome to the Drunken Cryptids. I'm your guide, Matthew. Here, you'll hear encounters of the spooky, paranormal, the strange, and the unknown. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. It's showtime.
Was these two globes. I don't know how to describe them. And I stood up there and looked at them, and it's like...
That how she turned and looked at me, she backed straight up through my closet door.
I just couldn't hold it anymore, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was a chupacabra. I was so excited.
I am drinking something I affectionately refer to as a Matty Rita.
And welcome back to another episode of the Drunken Cryptids. And I've got a special guest for us tonight. But before we begin, let me get some of the front of the house out of the way. Give a shout out real quick to Blade Media. Thanks, Dylan, for all the hard work you put in, man. The graphics amazing. Y'all need to check out blademedia.com. Dylan over there is a great guy, independently owned and operated. If you need it done, Dylan's the guy for it. Also, Gunner, Tommy, thanks for all the support and all the hard work y'all have put in. I wouldn't be where I'm at now without you two, and I appreciate it all. Much appreciated. Thank you so very much. Gunner runs the video side of the house, and Gunner runs, and Tommy runs the audio side. So, and we will be at the Arkansas Paranormal Expo this October 26th and 27th in downtown Little Rock at the Military Museum. Come on down. We'll have the podcast equipment set up. We'll be doing interviews. We'll be trying to meet up some of the guest speakers, try and get some interviews done with them. We'll have some t-shirts, some other memorabilia for sale. Come on down, check us out. Appreciate it. And if you've had an if you've had an encounter, I don't care what it is, something creepy, something paranormal, whatever it is, reach out. drunkencryptids@gmail.com. Make sure you give us a like and a follow. Give us that 5-star review. The more likes and shares you guys give us, the more reviews you guys give us, the more we get out there, and the more episodes and the more encounters I'm able to share with you. But tonight, I'm sitting down with a lovely young lady by the name of Miss Karen. And Karen has had like a kind of a interesting little life full of encounters. Am I correct?
That is correct. I think I've always been super sensitive to spirits and different things, and I just always walk into these strange encounters, or they find me somehow.
Well, you found me somehow, and I'm grateful for that one.
I guess I walked in your gate.
You did. You walked in the gate. I want to blame it on your husband, Tony. So we're sitting out here on the deck, you guys, so you may get some ambient noise and stuff. We're just out here relaxing, and we were just kind of telling stories, and I was like, nope, we're going to turn this into an episode.
He may be sorry for this.
No, not even close. So, but without further ado, Miss Karen, I'm going to turn it over to you. And you said something about a haunted house you grew up in.
So it wasn't really a haunted house. There were always spirits around in the house. The house I grew up in was part of Camp Robinson originally, the property was. And when I graduated high school, they were doing some digging and found like unexploded ordnances in our yard. So people had come through and trained and all sorts of stuff.
Okay, so is this the neighborhood that's by the front gate of the Camp Robinson?
No, it's up on the hill off of Pike. Off West 52nd and Pike. So
okay,
it's right before you get to Alta Vista.
Right. Okay. So I know the area then. Okay.
Yeah, up on the hill. I grew up on Nelbrook. But
well, they have signs at Burns Park that say the same thing though. Watch out for ordnance and everything else like that.
Wow, didn't realize that. It was all over the area that they trained and did all sorts of things in preparation for World War II and World War I, I think, because it was Camp Pike at that point.
Right.
But we had always had spirits in our house. We could always feel them. My mom is very sensitive to spirits also. So what would happen was, at times you could just feel things. You could wake up in the middle of the night and just have things over your bed looking at you. My mom more than me.
Really?
Growing up. Especially my father died in 1977. And after he had passed away, we always woke up. And it wasn't really him. It was more what was from the area. We feel like, not his spirit, but what was from the area would just be looking at us, would wake up, and it'd just be things around us all the time.
Like what things?
Like, you couldn't describe them, but you knew they were some sort of being.
Orbs or just, I mean shadow people maybe?
Shadow people more than anything. Because I was
Ooh.
afraid to really go down the rabbit hole of what could this be. And this was, I was preteen, like 11 to, I moved out when I was like 19. Between those years, there was no internet back then. There was no real research. All you had was that goofy guy who had the midnight paranormal show. Art Bell. So
Yep.
you would hear Art Bell, and it was like the more you heard Art Bell, the more freaked out you would get about what it could be that was looking at you every night. It was like, come on, And there was no real way to research it. I could look up the encyclopedia, but there wasn't any paranormal encyclopedia.
No, well, so I was the kid in the library,
Uh-huh.
and the card catalog was my friend. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. So I was always using a card catalog for ghosts and UFOs and vampires, Dracula, werewolves, everything I could try and dig my hands into and find. That's what I was all about. So I was a nerdy kid in the library.
Yeah.
And the school library never had anything cool. It was always like the public library.
Yeah, once I had my driver's license, I was at the library all the time, but it was, at that point, it was a lot of different things, not really figuring out what was waking me up 3 or 4 nights a week, where you would just really, really see.
Right.
And hear and be freaked out. But it came to a point where...
Well, describe some of the things that you saw as best as you can.
Like you said, it was more shadow people. You knew it was a being, or I knew it was a being there. I knew there were more than one.
Were they floating or walking, or what were they doing?
I never saw them walk. I would wake up, I would open my eyes, and they would just be there sort of hovering, standing on the floor, but they would be looking down at me.
Like leaning over, looking at you?
Leaning over, looking at me.
That would give anybody nightmares.
Yeah.
That would literally give anybody nightmares.
So my bedroom was in the basement at one point, and I would go sleep on the floor and on my mom's side of the bed. As a teenager, I was so freaked out about this.
And how many would you see?
5, 6, 7.
Could you tell gender or anything?
No,
or just an
no.
outline of a figure?
It was just a figure. They were genderless, no words, just beings staring down over me.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my mom was having the same experiences at the same time, but we didn't know that until years later we were having the discussions about it.
Isn't it kind of funny how, years later when you get with family members and the paranormal experience happens and you compare notes and everybody's having, similar discussions of everything?
Mm-hmm. I know. We had this basement door, and my bedroom was in the basement, and it was like a house on a hill, so the basement was a walkout basement. My bedroom was, had the windows and a door to the outside. But I could feel things, move through that room.
Really?
Really.
So when you say it was like a breeze or a cold spot or what?
Cold spots. You could walk and you could just feel this cold spot, but your body feeling also changes. It's almost like the pressure in your inside your body changes.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So.
I just tapped the microphone. It
Yeah.
just echoed.
You could just feel it. And down in the basement, which was under the house, there was always this cross breeze, and no matter what my parents did to try to stop this kind of air movement in there, it never stopped.
So what's funny is that Maddie, our former producer, and we miss him still, we were going to do an episode with him before he passed away, and he described this house, and we have a soundbite of it. We kind of have a little bit of it, but it's not a good recording. And in the house he lived in Little Rock, this figure would always kind of form thing, and they always thought it was like a condensation or whatnot. And it was a female figure that they would see and kind of walk around and stuff like that. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah. And you feel like you're an insane person if you're trying to describe it to anybody who doesn't hasn't experienced it before, especially back in the day in the 80s. I was a teenager. I mean, I would. You
Well,
don't
you
just
think
go
is-
and tell your friends, hey, some weird thing is happening in my bedroom every night.
So you hung out with the wrong friends, because my friends would be like, "Oh, let's go find this. Let's go look at it."
I know. I have some weird friends too, and they probably would have said the same thing. And if they hear this, they'll be like, man, I didn't know that. Or some of them may have known a little bit about it, but.
Well, I lived in a haunted house when I was stationed at Fort Hood, and my Army buddies have been trying to get me to do an episode on the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, if you came over to the house at all, you had it was haunted. You would have an experience.
Yeah.
Now, my ex-wife, on the other hand, she chalked it all up to everything but the house being haunted. So she never acknowledged, but everybody was telling her, including me, the house is haunted. And she's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Well, I wanted to believe it wasn't haunted, but then in retrospect, it was to a certain extent. There were spirits in the house I grew up in.
That is crazy. Now, you said that they came and did something to the house?
So we had where you do the prayers, the Bible, and just cleanse the house.
Yeah, they came and blessed the home.
And after that, no more. Ever.
See?
It all stopped.
It's crazy what the power of God can do.
Let me tell you this. The house I grew up, I was married and bought a house, the block back behind it, like the block behind it.
Right.
There were crosses carved in every single door. Every single door frame had a cross carved at the top of it. And when I moved into that house, I moved into that house, the neighbors that lived across said they saw a lady with a white nightgown standing at the edge of the yard into the house I moved into on Nelson, which is a block over, the block behind it. So we really think the house I had bought and moved into after I was grown and married had been protected, and they would not come into that property. Because I was thinking, how would my neighbors see a lady with a white nightgown right there at the edge of the property when I'm moving in?
So, the lady in white, which is weird, has been appearing in some Bigfoot sightings.
Really?
Yes, and so part of the woo factor of Bigfoot, the lady in white appears. But I think that with the lady in white tying in with the Bigfoot and lady in white being seen, I think it's more of a fae thing, more of the fairies. And knowing the area, the neighbors are talking about, how close it is to camp, and the wooded areas out there, which is, camp can be kind of a little, well, I have theories already running when it comes to military bases and some of the cryptids that we all know and love. But the lady in white, when she appears, it's almost like a fairy thing. Some of the fae folks. So there might be some fae over there.
I always felt like the lady in white was somebody that was supposed to protect me.
Okay. Well, the fae are really good at trying to pretend to be like, hey, we're real helpful. And it's not Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
Disney has totally ruined what fairies are supposed to be. Fairies aren't good. They're not good. They're gonna, yes. Actually, if you look into the history of the fairies, it is not good. And I have a fairy garden out front, which is crazy. And the more I did it because the kids get a kick out of it and stuff like that. And as here, if Jacob has microphone plugged in, he would verify that I've had the gnome out front turn sideways. I've had one of the houses tipped over. I had a mushroom grow up under the house, one of the fairy houses out front, and I'm just like, all right, sorry guys, whatever I did wrong, I apologize for. And I haven't had, they haven't acted up in a couple months now.
Well, I tell you, the fairies and the gnomes, we have a 2-year-old grandchild, and he sees our gnomes and he screams, monster, monster. So we've had to remove our gnomes. We've sent them up to where he works.
Really?
And because our 2-year-old, who has no sort of idea what any of this is, would look at him and just scream, monster. And this child is not afraid of anything.
But afraid of gnomes.
Yeah.
Maybe he's seen something.
I've never, ever seen him cry until we wanted to go out back, and he had noticed that we had one hanging up on the porch.
Man, he would hate my house. I've got gnomes hidden. I love gnomes. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah,
I just fell in love
I
with
do
gnomes
too.
a couple years ago. To where I've got little gnomes hidden throughout the house. I've got them for seasonal decorations. I'm an old 50-year-old, almost 50-year-old guy now, so
Yeah. Hey, we have them everywhere too, and we still have a lot around. But the one that really freaked him out is gone, and then a few of the others we've just put away or send it.
I'm gonna have Tony send
somewhere.
me a picture of that. I'm gonna so when we
I've got
do
a
the
picture of it.
oh, when y'all send me that picture. So what I'll do is I'll post that picture of the gnome on the Facebook page when your episode drops.
And it's really wild because he would take a nap. He takes a nap on the couch, and I didn't realize this is what he was seeing until he was just crying hysterically. This child never cries.
Really?
So I sat on the couch to comfort him, and I looked out the back window. That's exactly what I saw, that gnome. I think Tony's showing you a picture of it now.
No, he wrote something.
Oh. I sent you that picture. It should be on your messenger stuff.
True. Okay, so all right, so what Tony's trying to write there is, I look at, so he's talking about the youth can see, probably through the veil easier, and I think that pets and kids can
I do
see
too.
more into, which is why I have a cat and a dog. Mm-hmm. So on the 4th of July, which was weird, I was in bed. And the fireworks are done. I don't do fireworks, obviously, because of my, my past. But, I was in bed. I had to go to work in the morning. And I heard it sound like claws in my house. And my cat come hauling down the hallway, ran into my room, jumped into my bed, and I went, there is something here.
Right.
So I get out of bed, and I'm like, okay, either I got a rat, something happening in the house, or something. And I come down the hall. And the cat's, believe it or not, she's following me. So I love my cat. She's following me. And Jackson is crate, the dog. And so I like, F this, and open up the door, and I let him out. And he runs right into the kids where their gaming stuff is set up, the living room area. I have like a den and a living room. So they run into the gaming room, and he's like sniffing underneath where the TV's at. And I'm like, so I'm getting down. I got the flashlights on. I'm like, whoa, I'm thinking I got something in the house. And no, it turned out to be the next door neighbors were letting off fireworks. They left more fireworks, and the sound echoed, came through the house, and it sounded like the
Gotcha.
but it didn't sound like a firework. It sounded like something was just like, like claws running. I was like, oh, okay. And the cat did not leave my room for the rest of the night.
I believe it.
Yep.
I truly, truly believe children, animals are super sensitive. And as humans, as we grow up, we become more desensitized to all of this.
I think you're right, but I also think when we get older too, though, if you notice, like the elderly too, though, those who've moved, in their silver years, they seem to be a little bit more attuned to some of these things as well.
And two, if you leave yourself open to them, I think that I've always been open enough that things seek me out more than I seek things out, because I don't really seek anything out. Things just come to me or happen to me that are just so off the wall.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. So I talked to Todd, who was on the episode The Musical Seer. And I talked to him today. And we were talking, and just kind of randomly, just BSing with stuff. And Todd's a great guy. And he goes, Matthew, in all seriousness, let me ask you a question. And I was like, okay. And he said, do you think that maybe you're kind of receptive to these things? He said, I kind of get that vibe off you. If you listen to his episode, he's sensitive. And he said, I feel like whenever you're walking into places, and if it is haunted, they go, oh, look, Matthew's here.
Oh, I could go poke him.
Yep.
I think that's what happens to me, too. That's why I get myself into these situations.
I'm so going to take you to Four Quarter then.
Okay.
Have you been to Four Quarter yet?
I've been to the bar. Is it a bar?
Yeah, it's downtown.
I haven't been, but I've been, but I haven't been like.
Okay, so
I haven't been and said, hey.
Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go down there sometime the next couple of weeks before they're open. Well, they'll be open, but before they get busy.
Right.
And I'm just going to have you walk through and see whatever. Because if you're open to this stuff, I'm going to have you walk through and see what you experience.
Oh, Lord, they find me anywhere.
Well, they're there. It is probably the most haunted location in Central Arkansas. I've had one major experience. My buddy, Rick, who's been on the show a couple times, has had an experience in there. He came up to visit from San Antonio. They've got video footage. They've got everything in there. Of the hauntings. It's crazy. Okay, so moving to the house, Lady in white is seen by the neighbors. Mm-hmm. There's crosses carved into the house. And you still moved in?
Every single door. We didn't notice there were crosses above every single door till we had already signed everything and we're moving in.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I would look at it as like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then I would look at it as kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that whole neighborhood, there were a lot of houses that had some issues, had spirits with them. But the 2 houses I lived on that block, and actually I lived in 3 houses, they all had stuff going on.
Well, let's talk some more about that. Oh, look, there's some more of that background noise coming in from somebody
Hey.
driving down the street.
You gotta love it.
Man, these mics pick it up good.
I know, these microphones do great. I think
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Hello. I got to be honest. Okay, so my apartment was just right around the corner, and finding this house was like this huge blessing. I was actually looking at another house across the street almost, and this house had a for rent sign. I pulled into the driveway, and I automatically knew this was the house.
Yeah, it's a great neighborhood.
And I love it. I mean, I've wanted to live in this area for so long, and I have, and I'm truly lucky and blessed to be where I'm at. I am.
Well, I've lived over here about 26 years.
Oh, wow. I've been here since November.
I have a few years on you.
Just a few.
Just a few.
But I love it. I absolutely. Well, tell us more about so the house had. Okay, so Tony is just showing me the gnome, and I have almost ordered that on Amazon for that tree right there.
Don't do it.
Oh, now I want to.
Don't do it. Well, actually, he will give you the one we have.
I'll take it.
We'll just pass it along.
Just pass it along. Matthew takes all the 100 things.
It freaked out the lawnmower lady up at work.
Did it really? Oh,
Yeah.
I need that gnome then.
Yeah, the grandbaby. We removed it. The lawnmower lady where he works, he'd put it on the tree right outside his office.
Oh my gosh. Yep. I'll take the
And
gnome.
so, yeah.
I will. Okay, so when I get the gnome, I will post a picture of the gnome on Facebook from when we drop this episode. I
Yeah.
can promise you that. Okay, so Lady in White, cross is carved in above the doors. What else?
So this house did not have paranormal activity. I'd lived on Nellbrook. One house had moved into another house on Nellbrook, and it had activity too. But then when we moved into the house with all the crosses above the door, and when we moved, our neighbors saw the lady in white at the property line, at the backyard gate.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happened at that house.
Wow. Oh, that house was. Oh. So,
And
okay, so
it
the
was
Lady in
already
White was seen
cleansed.
at the edge of the house.
It
at the
did
property.
not come into our yard at all. It was at the back.
The house was already blessed. It was already secured, and the Lady in White was probably part of the fairies.
So it
And
wouldn't
that's
come
a-
on the property.
When it come on the
Did
property.
Not, and so that's what freaked me out. Our neighbor said, there was some lady in a white gown or in a white nightgown standing out here. Do you know who it is? And I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. And it's when we were moving, and it was a block away. And so, I don't know who you're talking about. And then when we discovered all the crosses etched above every single door, we're like, I know what happened. Because I grew up on the street behind this.
That means, yeah.
In a house behind this area, a house behind it and 2 down. So I knew exactly what it was.
That is crazy.
Somebody was having the same issues in this house as the house I grew up in. And that's why they had it cleansed and all the crosses were carved in every door.
So I got to say something real quick. Tony, so before we started recording, you were a little nervous about doing the recording and everything, right? The way you're sitting, your composure, your posture, you look like you've been doing this for a long time.
I'm good at winging stuff.
She can hit a niche, fall in, and relax into it like she's been doing this forever.
Yeah, I was totally blindsided by all of this.
Hey,
So
look,
I walked in the backyard. I walked in the backyard and we were talking, and he's like, "Oh no, let me get this recording equipment out."
So in my defense on this one was, so last week, so Friday night is deck night at my house, and so I'll have anywhere from 3 people show up to 12 people show up. So I never set a recording up for any of it. Last Friday, we got into a great conversation, and all I was thinking was, why are we not recording this? We were covering religion, portals, which I think we're going to talk about here in a minute. We were covering religion, portals, Bigfoot, Wendigos, skinwalkers, everything. We were covering
soldiers dancing around a fire.
You brought that up, and I'm glad that Jacob finally showed up, and he doesn't have a microphone. He'll have the headphones on about Reed's Bridge.
Yeah, the soldiers dancing around the fire at Reed's Bridge.
Yeah, we're going to talk about soldiers dancing around the fire here in a minute. Oh, look at that. So, but the thing about it is, so I learned my lesson, and I talked to Bradley yesterday about it, and he's like, "Dude, I'm coming over. We're gonna do an episode. That was awesome." So we're gonna pop it off, but we're gonna get some more microphones. We're slowly growing, and so the main goal is we're gonna do about once every about 2 months or so. We're gonna do like a roundtable discussion where we'll have everybody sitting around the table and with the microphones and the headphones on, and this is what we're gonna do.
That's awesome.
Okay, so that house, nothing happened, but you said you lived in a third house over there.
So it was the house. I grew up in one house, rented a house across the street from the house I grew up in, which had a lot of paranormal activity too.
Do tell.
Like saying, I wonder where the camera is, and the door would pop open to the china cabinet where the camera was. My first husband. Sorry, Tony. It's not my first husband.
Hey, we all have
over
a
there.
past.
So my first husband and I
have
lived
a
in
couple
that house.
ex-wives.
And so we're like, we would really like to have a baby this year. Well, we had a baby doll in the other bedroom, and it started crying randomly. It's the one that you push the tummy and it cries.
Okay, hold on.
I know.
Hold on.
I had a baby that year too.
Where's the camera? And the cabinet opens for the camera, and then talking about having a baby, and you have hold on. Why do you have a baby doll in your house?
I had stepchildren.
Okay, that makes sense. But the baby doll starts
stepdaughter.
crying?
Yeah, I mean, it never cried before, never cried since, and you had to push its belly. You had to pick it up and push its belly for it to cry.
So did you take that as a sign that let's have a kid, or no?
Well, we were talking about what if we have a child that year. I was pregnant and had a baby. This was on New Year's Eve. I was pregnant and had a baby the next January.
Wow. Okay, so hold on a second.
No,
Jacob's got a question. Jacob's got a question. Jacob's got a question.
I was 33 and I was told I would never have children.
Damn. So my question, when you were saying about the baby, when you say you wanted a baby and the baby started crying, so none of the kids would press it and it wouldn't cry?
The kids weren't there. It was just my husband and I. It was New Year's Eve. We were home alone.
Okay, yeah. That's why I picked up on. There was nobody there but them.
New Year's Eve, we're home alone. We're talking about what's going to go the next year. And it's like, I really would like to try for a baby. I'd been told I'd never have a baby, but we hadn't really tried for one.
Right.
Didn't try.
And all of a sudden
Got
we have a
pregnant
baby.
and had a baby the next January. And I was in my mid-30s.
So what?
Even where,
Okay, so you were told.
More wicked.
Okay. So
I was older.
Does the child know this story?
I don't think he does. So, Jake, if you're listening, this is your origin story.
Jake, you started from a possessed, weird baby doll that was crying on its
ugly babies.
Ugly baby doll.
So these are like from one of the baby dolls from the 90s.
Yeah,
they were. Look. The cutest things the cutest baby dolls from the 80s and 90s were the Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah, this was one of the weird
and those
ones.
were kind of creepy.
So creepy babies. That's another story for another time.
No,
though.
it's not. We're right here. Let's talk about creepy. Was this happen more?
So the creepy babies have to be put up in my house because my boys are too creeped out by the creepy babies. And we actually have a box labeled creepy baby box of all the creepy babies we have because I have to put them up, especially now that the grandchild gets...
And you still have them?
Why not? I like them.
You still have them?
She's got the freaking box of creepy babies still?
She still has the creepy box.
It's in my garage. You can come look at it. It's just a few blocks over. Totally creepy baby box.
Yeah, we're gonna come over and crash her. Well, I already told you we're gonna do a deck party over at y'all's place.
So, but since our grandchild has been freaked out, I've put so many of the creepy things up.
Well, there's a sign. I'm just saying that if the grandkid is afraid of the gnomes and the creepy baby dolls, I mean, I had a Schwann. I'll never forget.
Well, and my grown boys are afraid of the creepy baby dolls.
Okay, so I had a Schwann customer out in Gravel Ridge, and the first time I went there, her house was full of dolls.
Oh no, I'm not the creepy doll house lady. I just had a few on the shelf.
And she was the sweetest lady. She was the sweetest lady you'd ever meet. Mm-hmm. She was she would love her to death. Mm-hmm. And to where as she got on with age, and she moved on. She kept getting further and further down to where her daughter moved in. And me and her daughter were talking one time. I brought it up. I was going, so what's up with the dolls? And she goes, all my life. And she would have rooms. The lady lived alone until her daughter moved in to help her out. Every room in that house was floor to ceiling of dolls.
Oh, now that is creepy. That's worse than my few that I have on a shelf.
Yeah, it's where I would be like, I'd be like in her front room. She'd go like get her checkbook or whatnot to, to pay me for, the order.
We're getting the heebie-jeebies.
And I'm not gonna lie. So I took selfies with the dolls. I did, and Sammy's mom. So I was dating Sammy's mom at the time. When I would send Sammy's mom the pictures, and she'd go, "Oh, creepy doll lady house." I was like, "Oh yes."
That's hilarious.
And then I'd post them on Facebook, and everybody like, "Oh, creepy doll lady." And she was the sweetest lady in the world, though. I mean, just absolutely just a sweetheart. She'd always have a smile, always, "Hey, Matthew," and she was great.
Yeah, if something's odd or abnormal or whatever, I love it even more. So.
No, I'm the same way.
Oh, my grandma had a couple of these
Hold on.
porcelain.
Oops.
Just dropped the mic there.
We dropped the mic.
But yeah, I mean, my grandma had a couple of these porcelain dolls from her childhood, and some of them started to, I guess, deteriorate. They got creepy.
Yeah, the Cupid doll I have that's like porcelain or chalk. I think it's called chalk.
Where'd that up?
Okay, so so your grandson is afraid of the creepy dolls.
Right, and my grown sons are.
Do you blame them?
No.
Okay, so you're about.
But I'm not freaked out by them. If they had evil in them, I would know because I'm sensitive.
I'm not disagreeing with I feel the same way. I feel the same way. And I've had people go, "Oh, that's a horrible thing." I'm going, "No, it's really not." It's okay."
You can pick the vibe up on anything.
If you're open to it.
Yeah.
Because the way I look at it is to where there's, everybody has this theory that everything out there is like evil and demons. And I think there's more good in the paranormal than there is bad.
Honestly, it's funny that you say that because I really think that too. I really think that there are spirits and beings around us that protect us a lot more than harm us.
I agree. 100%. And there's so many people, though, who have this theory to when it comes to the paranormal that everything is a demon. And I'm not going to mention TV shows, but everything is a demon. And I disagree.
So
I have seen
my friend, this conversation's for you right now. Okay, go ahead.
Because I mean, in all my life, I mean, I've been surrounded with, I lived in haunted houses. I've had creepy stuff happen, weird things happen. And in all honesty, only a few times and I can say that I was absolutely scared. Mm-hmm. Everything else has been, I don't know. Like when we crack jokes about on the last the episode I did the canine discussion, and we talked at the end when I went to the Birdcage Theater at Tombstone where I got touched on the shoulder. Mm-hmm. And Rick teases me about it, goes, "Yeah, he freaked on out." Well, you're not expecting to be touched, but it wasn't a touch to where it was like a grab. It was a caress. It was out of the blue a caress. Mm-hmm. So even at Four Quarter, the touch that I had, it wasn't like a malicious touch.
Right.
And it made me jump because you're by yourself and all of a sudden you get touched. I don't care who you are, you're gonna jump. Mm-hmm. But nothing felt malicious at all. And only a few times dealing with the paranormal have I been, this is creepy.
Right.
Yeah. So during the ghost hunting hype at the late 2000
teens,
before the teens, mm-hmm. Like 2008, 2007, the big hype everyone was doing, the ghost shows. So I got the wise idea that I was going to do a ghost hunting group.
Right.
I mean, I've been in the paranormal my whole life. Let's do it. Had a handful of people. They're like, "Yes, let's go do this. Let's go find ghosts." And so we investigated a haunted house. And right in the middle of the living room. And if you've ever been ghost hunting, it's probably one of the most boring things on the planet you could ever do. It is.
Hurry up and wait.
Yes, it's like, exactly. I mean, it's worse than fishing. I mean, at least in fishing, you can move to a different spot. Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously, because we've all been fishing. You're out there, you got your bait cast, you get everything. You're using lures. You're sitting going, "Come on, I know you're here. I know you're here. I know you're here." So I was bored, and my one investigator, Nick, he was doing EVP work with me in the living room, mm-hmm. And he holds his hand out, and the lady was complaining that, you know, they get tugged on and covers get moved and he get stuff like that. And he holds his arm out and he goes, go ahead and tug on my sleeve. So me being smart, I was like, yeah, Nick likes to get tugged on. And it laughed right in the middle of the living room.
Are you serious?
You hear this thing laugh. And I jumped up out of the recliner I was sitting in, and I had this look of excitement on my face, like I just landed a 10-pound bass.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm looking at him, and he is about pale. He's freaking on out. I was like, what did you hear? And he goes, I heard like a female or a kid laugh. Oh, that's what I heard. So excited. And then the activity went crazy after that. It was weird.
Well, the activity or the spirits realized that you were open to it. And there it goes. That's the snap that it took.
I was being, well, my problem is I'm always a smart ass, and I can't help that sometimes. I'm the guy to where, like, even at the Elks Lodge down there, we had me and my cop buddy years ago before we became members, and they gave us a tour, and they're showing us upstairs, and I asked a question, and I ask it everywhere I go. I'm that kid. Is it haunted? And the lady goes, oh, yeah, it's haunted. I was like, oh, cool. Tell me more. Now I'm interested.
Right.
And so she said, yeah, there's some guy spirit that lives up there, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, hey, there's a bathroom back there, and, you know, it is a Drunken Cryptids. We have been drinking. I was like, hey, I'm going to, can I go to the bathroom? And my cop buddy goes, yeah, I got to go too. And now he's taller than I am. He's bigger than I am. And he's kind of a guy you don't want to run into in a dark alley. And he's walking behind me. We walk up to the door to the bathroom, and the doorknob is shaking like there's somebody on the other side of the door trying to open the door. And I stop, and he stops. And he goes, oh, brother, I don't think I'd go in there. And I smiled and said, oh, we going?
Exactly.
Yep.
Why not charge right in?
So I grabbed the doorknob. I tried to turn the door, and it was like somebody was holding it on the other side.
That's pretty awesome, though.
Got the door open. We turned the light on, and the lights came. It brightened up, and then it got dark. So the lights were on, but the room was dark. And so we're standing there doing the business, and we're looking at each other, and it felt like there was somebody else in the room with us.
Right.
So, but that also happens to be the same area to where that me and Jacob caught an EVP on.
Right.
Yeah, and that's on our YouTube, I think. We put it on YouTube, and then it's on the TikTok as well. And then Tommy went and isolated it, and we haven't posted the EVP yet.
That's pretty cool.
As of this recording, we haven't posted the EVP yet. So it may be posted by now, but as of this recording, we haven't done it yet. So, okay, so, all right. So the grandson and the creepy baby.
Okay, so I love to go to thrift stores and weird places, and if I find like a little statue or something, I'll pick it up. So then this statue's been in my hallway forever, in the floor of the hallway by the front door. So my grandson and I, like years. My grandson is 2.5 in this photo.
That's creepy.
Okay,
That is creepy. Isn't
Okay,
it? So
we're not going to share the photo because it's the grandson, but let me tell you guys, it's the doll and the grandson side by side, and it is damn near identical.
I know. I didn't even notice this. We were playing Hot Wheels, and then this is a little ceramic statue. Not little, it's like life size, like a head, And it's on the floor. Never pay attention to it, sweep around it, whatever.
He's a handsome kid, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah,
He's
but
playing
handsome
Hot
grandson.
Wheels, and he starts running his cars up to the baby, and he starts saying, "Hi, friend. Hi, friend." And
To the doll.
I look at this little statue thing, and I'm like, "Holy cow! It looks just like him." Didn't even realize this until he started saying, "Hi, friend," to this.
Do we still have that?
Yeah, it's in the front hallway of the house.
Does he still talk to it?
No. We don't play Hot Wheels up there very often. It was just a random thing.
So he doesn't go up there and go, "Hey, friend."
No, but I mean, I'm sure.
Did he name it?
No.
Oh, thank goodness.
But he was like a lot younger there. So, but I also see, like if I see an image and I have a friend, this is a whole different story. So I see people in old images that look like, anyway, you just need to look through
Have
my
you
thing.
found one of me?
No.
Okay, good. If you do, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, because I got to share that. That'd be. So
But-
what she's doing, you guys, and we're not going to share this right now, but she's showing me. So she has friends
Who do historic reenacting.
who do historical reenactments. Well, you just said it, and she's finding their doppelgangers.
I just randomly see historic images and I'm like, oh, this looks like this person. This looks like this person. This looks like this person. You just see them. You see it in them. You see the image, and it's like, wow.
That falls back into kind of the past life thing.
Or seeing faces and everything too.
The pareidolia.
I think that.
So we actually just talked about that about a week ago.
Really?
Yes. Ironic
I did
enough.
not know this.
With the kids. The kids wanted to do an episode on the Stanley Hotel. And so I let them do an episode, and I brought that up because they were talking about seeing faces and everything. And so I educated the kids on it. So if y'all hearing the dog in the background, we're outside. So just enjoy being outside. Okay, so.
Back to. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to put my phone down that loud.
That's all right. It's going to echo. We'll try and muffle it later. And that's what. We'll just let it go. Professional podcasters. All right, so haunted dolls. Well, hold on, they're not haunted, so that we know of. Creepy dolls.
Yeah, they just look odd. Maybe they're little, not what everybody else would fall in love with. And I don't. It's not like I have a house full of dolls. I probably have 10 or 12.
That would be a house full to me.
They're packed up in a box in the garage right now.
And they're labeled creepy dolls.
Oh, look at him giving me this. There's only 10 or 12. I don't think there's more than that.
Hold on. So they're having like a couple look at each other.
We don't.
I'm going to describe it. Tony's trying to button the numbers up.
Maybe creepy things, not only creepy dolls.
So we have creepy things. What creepy things do we have?
What about the jar of doll parts?
I'm sorry, what? We have a jar of what?
If they're abandoned and they just need to go in the jar.
If they're what?
If they're abandoned and like broken off somewhere, I don't break them off.
Okay, they're abandoned for a reason, probably.
Well, they're like
creepy doll.
Poor leg that's just somewhere.
Karen, you're giving me so many ideas to name this episode. And oh, by the way, she collects old souls left at Goodwill.
Yeah, we don't do that.
We don't have a lot of old souls right now. I've gotten rid of a lot of old souls.
Okay, talk about the old souls. Now, okay, we're collecting old souls, baby doll parts.
You didn't realize this man was married to somebody so weird.
I thought we were going to talk about a portal here in a little bit. Now we're still on baby dolls and parts and old souls. By all means, we'll get to the portal later, folks.
No, it was the hall of old souls. So in our stairway, I would collect old portraits that were really sort of interesting.
Okay,
and
so
didn't
I don't.
have a
Okay,
home. Somebody's
actually,
cast off family member that was just.
Okay, so I'll give you props on that one. So I will say this: one that's awesome. I don't think it's old souls.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're keeping somebody's memory alive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know who that person is or anything. It's like the stein you gave me, the cup with the initials on there. We don't know who that was, but at one point in time, though, that cup was important to somebody, and so that legacy is still being carried on, because when we pass on, we probably have like a generation that we're remembered for. Then after that, nobody remembers.
Right.
I think that's awesome.
And like these images, I don't just like pick up any picture. It has to say something to me, or I'm like, bless her heart. She'll come home and she'll live on my wall for a little while, and then she'll go on to another home that'll love her just as much.
About the
That is awesome.
tin plates,
The what?
the daguerreotypes,
You have to say what
Tin
you're saying.
types.
the tin type pictures, and the daguerreotype.
Tin
Yeah.
type and daguerreotype.
Old images.
Old
Yeah.
images from like the 1800s.
Okay, so these guys. So I want you to know that Tony and Karen, they also do reenactments. They dress up in Chimera clothing and they do reenactments, and they're real big in the community here for that. And they're a big part of the historical of carrying on the memory of history here, and to where Tony is working to get me to come up and do a reenactment with him. I think it's this year. Is that what you want me to do?
Fall squirrel hunt.
In fall. So this fall. So there may be pictures of me dressed up in, what time are you going to dress me up in?
1700s.
The
probably.
1700s. And I'm scared to
You
death
need-
they're going to find a picture.
No, honestly, it's really cool. You'll like it.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
all about it. Like I wear a kilt.
Yeah, you'll
Okay.
love it, and you'll love the group of guys that do it too.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited to go hang out with them.
Yeah, it's a cool group of people. It's cool things to do.
Well, do you want to say their name? Do you want to say the name of the group you guys are part of? You want to share it or no?
The Severe Ranging Company is who does it.
One more time?
And the Severe Ranging Company.
Severe Ranging Company.
And it's the Severe Rangers based in the...
Do they have a Facebook page?
Yeah, but it's spelled oddly. Tony?
Yeah, we're pulling it
It's
up right now.
spelled oddly.
Well, send me the
so-
link, and what we'll do is we'll post a link to them on in the description of this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll make sure that Gunnar and Tommy do that.
Yeah, and then if people want to get involved in something like that, we can always hook them up with the people here in Arkansas who.
All right.
There's-
Okay, so it's I'll spell it for you guys if you want to look it up. It is SEVIER space RANGING space CO accent Y. Severe Ranging Coal Company. Yeah, they kind of got abbreviated, and they're
And that
based
was-
out of. It looks like they're based out of Clarksville,
Tennessee.
Clarksville, Tennessee. I have a story about Clarksville, Tennessee,
So,
but it's not paranormal or creepy though. So totally different story for a different show.
so there's people Tennessee, Arkansas, all from around here that do with this group. It's a great group of folks.
I look good
And-
in those hats.
Yeah, great group of folks, and they do a whole lot of things. 1700s, 1800s, 1812. I think 1812 is about as late as y'all go, right?
Yeah, Battle of
So they
That's
do
pretty awesome.
Battle of 1812 stuff. So, but
See, this
mainly
is kind of cool
17
how we went from like haunted houses and creepy dolls and ladies in white all the way into talking about historical reenactments.
Welcome to my ADD world.
This is not an ADD world. This is a podcast world. This is the way the whole purpose of the Drunken Cryptids was to be able to sit down and do a recording of having a conversation about like this.
Yeah.
And the best part about it is that you're here in person. So, I mean, I'm looking at you right across the table. This is great.
Yeah.
So, and she was real nervous, you guys. And again, her composure is amazing. It looks like she's been doing this for like years. Like, she should be like interviewing me.
No. I have no idea what I'm doing. I walked into this blindly. I was blindsided with this. How's that?
Okay, but you know what? That makes the best episodes.
Yeah.
Because last week we messed up because we should have recorded. Lesson learned. I'll tell you that. Okay, so, all right. So we've had haunted houses, creepy dolls. Hold on. The doll part. Why do you keep on doll parts?
Well, I don't always keep them.
I'm just trying to figure this out. So, like, you just find like
Well,
a random
okay,
arm or a
so-
leg of a doll,
So
or
my boys are so freaked out by my creepy dolls. I had to up my game a little bit.
oh, this is hilarious. Oh, I get
It's
it
not
now.
like I collect them because I love them. I collect them because I think it's really funny as a mom to freak my kids out, my grown kids out, by them just looking at my creepy dolls and realizing I have a jar of doll parts.
This is great.
So
The
at
secret's out.
Goodwill, there was like a leg there, and I'm like, oh, I can put this in a mason jar.
That is hilarious.
I mean, I have no desire to really collect these things or keep these things, but I have a desire to be a weird mom.
No, that's great. I encourage it. I'm the weird dad.
You know? And then I don't say anything about it, and they notice it, and they're like, Mom.
That is hilarious. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm not going to lie. I love it.
You know, and it's basically free. You know, you see a leg at Goodwill, and they're not going to charge you for a leg.
Yeah, it's not KFC.
You know?
Oh, I couldn't help it. I had to
So-
say it. I had to say it.
Anyway.
It's not KFC.
At a garage sale, there may be one that's in pieces. It's like, ooh.
Oh, they'll be having wings and stuff like
Yeah.
that as well.
I
Yeah.
only have one jar of doll parts, so.
Only one. That's still, I'm not going to lie. It's hilarious. I love that.
And I'm thinking if I still have it or not. I haven't seen it in a while. Have you seen it lately?
Tony probably buried it somewhere
My
out
boys
there. I can't
probably,
promise him.
my boys probably took it away. They're like sneaking stuff out of my house so they don't have to deal with it after I die.
It's in the box of fall decoration.
Oh, it's in the fall decoration box.
It should be in like the creepy Halloween decorations.
Yeah.
We gotta actually.
You need a microphone so bad. I feel like they're barely hearing you. We're getting,
Yeah, we do have some weird Halloween decorations.
we're starting. We're getting bigger. We got 2 microphones, which is a lot more than what we had a month ago.
So our Halloween decorations, I guess some of the creepy dolls have made it into the Halloween decoration box.
Hanging
so.
from the trees. I'm not going to lie. You got fishing line hanging from the trees. There's an island in South America, I believe, and that's where they have all these baby dolls at. Mm-hmm. And it's like creepy, haunted. It's on my to-do list to go and check it out because if it's weird and creepy and haunted, I have to go. I'm that weird kid again. I'm still a kid. But, okay, so let's get to the portal.
The portal.
I want to hear about the portal.
So
I have got a podcast I listen to, and they are all about portals.
I love portals. I love letting the spirits come alive.
Do it. Talk away.
So when my youngest son was in high school or in school, I volunteered for this after-school program for disadvantaged kids, and it was at a train station off Broadway in North Little Rock. In that train station, you could feel it. You could feel the spirits passing right through you at certain times. Especially if we were there in the evenings, if we had something really late in the evenings, if we were feeding the kids and had to get all the food together, you could feel the spirits coming through, and there would be a big rush of them, and then it'd stop.
At a train station.
This is it's not an active train station. It was a train station, probably up until the 40s.
Okay, so I have a theory about Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Arkansas nickname is the natural state. And why is it nicknamed the natural state again? Come on, y'all from Arkansas. I'm not. This is y'all's state history. Don't y'all know this?
The beauty. I don't know.
Okay, so Arkansas. Okay, so you cannot stick a shovel in the ground in Arkansas and not find quartz.
Yeah.
Quartz has been known to contain, and in the paranormal world, it's theorized that it can contain and hold trap energies.
Mm-hmm.
So, if this used to be a train station, what if what you were feeling was the energies of these people at certain times, busy times in the evening, people trying to race to get home, get on the train, whatever they got to do. What if you were tapped into their energies that was trapped in this quartz, and that's what the quartz was doing? So where it wasn't necessarily haunted, but was kind of a residual thing, residual energies that y'all were feeling.
That makes sense.
Because I'll be honest with you, I think Arkansas is probably more haunted and more creepy than people are willing to talk about.
Right.
Arkansas is old school religion, okay, old school Christian, which is not a bad thing. But I think that more paranormal things happen in Arkansas than people give it credit for, or what people are willing to acknowledge.
And I think if you grew up here, you just think it's normal.
I'll be honest. So I'm learning.
I don't think
it's like
it's
my
not
theory.
normal.
I have not found one active hunter here in the state of Arkansas who has not shot a deer, had the deer jump into the woods, then eventually get down, track the deer, and the deer's not there. To me, that's Bigfoot. But yet they'll tell you, no, there ain't nothing out here. I've had so many hunters who, and they won't come on the show, but they've all told me the same story. Yep, I shot it. I know I shot it. I saw me hit it. I saw it flinch. I saw it do everything that's supposed to happen. Bounds off. I follow a blood trail. No deer. Every hunter has at least one story of that. And those who are listening right now are probably shaking their head in agreement going, yep, that happened to me. I'm willing to bet.
Pretty cool.
I got Tony raising his eyebrows going, yep, happened to me. So, but go on. Tell me, so the portal thing, though. So we're down there, we're feeling the energies of everybody going through. Did you see anything?
Well, there were like names of World War II soldiers written on the walls in one of the rooms in this train station. We did have some paranormal people come through and do an investigation. And it was so, I volunteered there for a few years. And the more in tune you got to it, the more you kind of really, you knew what to feel. But then are we training our brains to feel these things? So I was trying to discern, is this really spirits or is this my imagination?
Okay, so let's pause real quick. You said train our brains. So tell me your theory on that one.
So I think if you believe in something enough, you can believe it's true.
Manifest it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so 100% I agree with you on that one. I do believe that we do have the power to manifest things.
Right.
I know through the creepypasta, the big thing on the internet, and these new cryptids that have come out, like the Rake, Slender Man, and there's a whole bunch of sightings of these things.
Right.
But I think that people have actually manifested those through the power of the internet.
Right.
Through the power of technology. You sat there and, like, did y'all do remember the Bloody Mary thing? You go in the mirror, turn around 3 times, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary in the bathroom. I think that you manifest that stuff.
Right. And so I knew that there was a possibility if I thought about it too much. Is it me thinking this is what it is, or is this what it is?
Okay, so what was your conclusion on that?
It is what it is.
Oh, so tell me more.
Just the spirits, you can feel them go through you. It wasn't like something you could dream up or really, how do you put it in words? it was like nothing I could have imagined at all. You felt the temperature change, the pressure change in the building, and it was just, the breeze would come through. It was just wicked. So, and there were several things. You felt it every day at a certain time, every single day. If you were there at that time, you felt it. There was no sort of underground sewer system so we were trying to say, is there a sewage system? What runs under this property that could make this feel this way? There was nothing. Because I volunteered there for several years, and after a while we're like, okay, let's pull the plots, trying to figure it out, because it was really something that was consistent. You could feel it. Other people could feel it without you saying what was going on. So that's not me manifesting something. We brought in some paranormal people that were friends. And with those friends, they felt it. They got this whole reading set of different things and some EVPs. I don't even remember. I have to remember who they were. If they hear this, they'll know who they are. And also, they picked up on different things in this building that I hadn't picked up on, like a ticket person who sat in this certain office. Like all these little things that I hadn't picked up on, because I think I was so focused when I felt these spirits or something. I don't even know how to put it in words, but you could just feel the pressure change and the temperature change. And it's like a swarm of birds going through.
I call it my spidey senses.
Yeah.
It's where you just feel something's
like the
off.
hair on the back of your neck.
Yeah, when I was in the military,
up.
That's what I would say. I'd be like, yep, spidey senses are going off.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of know.
Yeah. And I'm not super versed on this kind of stuff, so I don't have the right phrases for all of it.
See, here's the cool part. There is no right phrases. There is no experts. There's none of that at all. And what we're doing is we're a couple of friends sitting at the table right now, enjoying a couple of beverages and telling stories and trying to come up with theories.
Yeah.
Because that's all we have. Because I'm not an expert at this at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even going to try to pretend to be an expert. I'm just a guy who's fascinated with all this stuff, who's had encounters his whole life. Mm-hmm. And I want to hear everybody else's stories.
Yeah.
And I want to share everybody's stories and encounters with the world. And
to find other people, too, like you, that are super sensitive to these things. So I'm like, why not the person that all these things come to?
Well, the bonus of the show is, and Todd talked to me about this earlier, and he even told me, he said, I'm so grateful for you, for your show. And he goes, I'm able to come on your show and discuss because, he's super sensitive. Mm-hmm. And to where he could almost have a conversation with somebody who's passed on, and he can't share with anybody.
Yeah, like, I bet he knows when people are about to die, right?
I don't know. We're going to do another episode with him this week.
One.
Do you know that? See, here we are. See, the conversation gets more and more in depth. Go on.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that later. It's not as strong as it was when I was a kid. I would look at somebody and know. When I was a kid, I would know every single time. But you get less. I think I've desensitized myself to that so much because I don't want to know. But I still know.
I probably wouldn't want to know either. I really wouldn't.
I still sort of know. I still do know. But I try to turn that off.
Okay, you ever get that vibe about me, let me know.
No, because it's not fair to let people know.
Yeah, let me know. That means I got to change something in my life.
Well,
I have no idea what it could be.
It's too late if I'm telling you.
That's all right. Let me make sure that.
No, honestly, if I say it now, is it manifesting it? When I was young, I knew every single time.
Okay, so you know what? Honestly, that's how I feel about psychics. Mm-hmm. Okay, so a psychic can tell somebody that you are going to go out and meet the love of your life. And that person is going to make sure that they go out. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to meet the love, only because of the fact that they self-manifested it.
Right.
And to where I think that you manifest, I think that we have the power to manifest more things in our world than we realize.
I just want to manifest that red Jeep I want. I'm sorry.
Okay, true.
I'm not that good, though.
Speaking of Jeeps, all right. Speaking of Jeeps, all my life, I've wanted a blacked out Jeep. Mm-hmm. All my life.
Right.
Wanted a blacked out Jeep. Wanted a blacked out Jeep. I didn't want a red Jeep. Didn't want a yellow Jeep. I wanted a blacked out Jeep. I thought that would be the coolest thing in the world. I wanted it matte black. I wanted it this. I wanted it that. And a couple years ago, there was a flat black, matted out, blacked out Jeep at the dealership. And I pulled my truck right into it. And I think Jacob remembers this. He's shaking his head, yes. Go in there, talk to the people. I'm like, dude, I want the Jeep. This is it. And he goes, man, it's already sold.
Oh, man.
I was like, you got to be kidding me. He's like, no, man, it's already sold. We just have it out there. We're waiting on the title. We're waiting on this, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right. A week and a half goes by. The Jeep is still there. I pull into the parking lot again, go, hey, what's up with the Jeep? No, man, we're still da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Has all my information. And I was working for a roofing company. And I was up on a roof. And my phone was ringing. And it's hot. I'm on a metal roof. It's early summer. It's Arkansas. So, I'm just dying to sweat already. And it was a dealership. I answered the phone. And the guy goes, is this Matthew? I said, yeah, it's me. And who's this? And he goes, hey, this is so-and-so down at so-and-so. I was like, oh, hey, what's up? Waiting for some line about, hey, we got something else. He goes, that black Jeep is right here. If you want it, it's yours.
Awesome. See?
And 3 hours later, I was the owner of a blacked out Jeep.
Yeah.
Appropriately named the Black Pearl.
Wow. I'm still manifesting my Jeep.
And
but I want an old Jeep that's not been modified. So that's the problem.
Okay, so I got lucky. So it already had like the lift kit on it, already had the tires on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Jeep, so we could go on and on about Jeeps. That's
so
totally
I like
different
one
episode.
in like 96 to 2006, put this out in the world. Not modified. Somebody's old tow behind their recreational vehicle Jeep.
Oh, yeah.
Old school. Old school TJ. I'll be fine.
There's plenty of them out there, though.
I know. The right one just has to show up in my world.
Okay, well, let's get back to the
Okay.
portal. Let's get back to the portal.
Okay, manifest that. We'll talk about no, really, truly discerning what's real and what you haven't imagined, because you can feel this over and over. Because if you think about something long enough, that whole narrative can change in your brain.
Yeah.
So you really have to then tune into what really is this, not what do you imagine it is.
That's true.
And so over time, that's what I've tried to do with all of these things that have come to my life. What is this?
So I look at okay, for example, so if we go looking for a ghost, we're going to find one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if somebody has a haunting and wants to come look into it, then we have to go into it with an open mind of discrediting everything first.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that most people, when they go into these haunted areas and they have an encounter and they have an experience, they probably have self-manifested it because you want it so bad. So if I was to say that my house is haunted, it's not.
You can make anything
but you can make
seem
it
haunted.
Yes. It's only because of the fact of the matter how you manifest it into what you want to bring into the world.
Right.
And that's why I tell everybody, stay away from Ouija boards.
Yeah.
When you are going to manifest, and it's not going to be what you think it is. It's not
Right.
your dead grandma, I promise, coming through. Because your dead grandma is more likely up there making cookies up there in heaven doing something else, other
Right.
than coming down here to tell you where her, lost coins are at. Because she don't care.
At least with stuff like that, I have a feeling of just like, don't touch it. I don't touch it.
Nope, I don't mess with it.
And things that are evil, if I feel that evil tug, I'm like, don't want anything to do with it.
Yep.
But I can feel spirits. I can feel things come through me. I can see things sometimes.
One of the few times I actually can say that I felt evil was Rick came on and talked about his wife Monica's grandmother's house in San Antonio. And in the military, I mean, you only talk about a few things when you're out in the field. Paranormal, beer, women, home, religion, and right back over again. Mm-hmm. And maybe TV shows. But we generally don't watch TV shows because we're too busy out in the field, and music. So me and Rick, we had a unique... So me and Rick and another buddy of ours, Jimmy, we had a unique career to where we all met together at Carson. And it wasn't our first news station, but we all met there at Carson. And we went from Carson together, Korea together, Fort Hood together. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we all grew up in the military together. Our families grew up together in the military. And, of course, Rick was the only one whose marriage lasted. And, mine and Jimmy's did not, but that's beside the point. So hearing these stories about, Monica's grandma's house, I so wanted to go there. So wanted to go check it out. And one weekend, we went down to San Antonio after we all got the Fort Hood together. And we pulled into the driveway. And I remember my eyes were drawn to one of the upper windows. And I just knew that whatever was in that house was looking at me from that upper window. And it was not good. And I'm just got the goosebumps looking at it, remembering it. I mean, Tony can see it, the hair standing up on my arms.
That's a totally different feeling than just normal spirit activity. There's only been a couple of times for me. One time, I walked into a situation and I immediately threw up. Wasn't even sick.
Yeah, that's evil.
Yeah. And that has put me, that mean I know now, if I start to get that feeling, I'll leave. I don't want any part of that.
No. No.
It's not even, and it was accidental, like walking into this situation. It wasn't like I was going and seeking this situation.
Well, that means that you're probably more sensitive to it than you realize. And you probably are more attuned to it than you realize. And I think a lot of people are more sensitive than they realize because, if you look at the Old Testament in the Bible, and I'm going to get biblical here for a minute, there is so much paranormal and magic and supernatural mentioned and the power of what people were able to do back then.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that went away. What I think has happened over time is that we've been taught that it's bad, it's evil, and everything is evil. So if you're sensitive and you can sense stuff, you're automatically labeled as either crazy. Like, let's be honest. If Jesus was to come back right now, he would probably be in an insane asylum. We would not recognize it. We would not recognize it at all. Because even the mainstream Christians would not recognize it. They're like, oh, no, you're not. No, you're not him. You're not him. You're not him. And I hate saying that, but it's the truth. I mean, if Jesus was to show up right now, there would be a small group of people, as there were before, who believed and followed him. And they were all labeled as what? Crazy.
Yeah, believers or,
false. He's false. He's this. And they crucified the guy. So what would happen today? Same thing. Same religion, same everything would act the same way. And that, to me, bothers me more than anything else. So people who are sensitive are labeled as crazy, labeled as weird, labeled as outcasts, and those are my people. Those are the people I want in my life. I want those people in my life who are going to look at the world in a different way than what we were taught to believe.
Right.
And I'm grateful. Program is a good term. Good job. To where with my parents, and my parents are diehard Christian people. They are all. And so you'd think with me being weird, I'm using my fingers pretty weird, but out there and stuff, I'm truly blessed because my parents support this.
Yeah.
And my parents are all about this. And my parents 100% encourage me to do this.
So my mom always has had sort of experiences with different things, and she's always been a believer in things. But as a good Southern woman, and I'm almost 60, my mom's in her 80s.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm 58.
Are you that close to 62 or are you over 60?
He's over 60.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I thought y'all were closer to my age.
Thank you.
No, I'm being honest. I thought y'all were my age.
Anyway, I'm 58. And so as a good Southern woman that it's been drilled in my head my entire life of this generation, you cannot act out of the ordinary in front of anybody.
It's true.
It's not, it's unexpected. I'm not that way anymore. I do whatever I want. But growing up, what would the neighbors think? Oh, you're in church. You can't say all this stuff if you're in church.
Try being a kid from Utah in the library.
Bless your heart.
Reading UFOs and ghosts and everything. I'm not going to mention my religion, but I'm from Utah. I'll just leave it at that.
I can read into it.
But again, too, though, my parents supported it.
Yeah.
And the church even, I came to my parents and told my parents to keep me in church, that I was going to be a speaker for the church one day, knowing what I was looking into and asking all these questions. I would ask questions in church all the time.
Right.
My mom had remarried So we had different last names. So I ended up on my mom's Sunday school class, and I probably drove my mom nuts a lot by going, excuse me. Because I had questions. And I wasn't questioning the word. I was just questioning the delivery of it or the interpretation of it. Because I would tell them my interpretation of it. And I had a few bishops even who were like, keep Matthew in the church. He's going to go places in the church.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously, I didn't stay in the church.
But see, you were allowed to have these
So I was encouraged by my parents.
Right.
To a point. And I really was. And to where I won't forget, I brought the Amityville Horror book home. And I was in my early high school years. And my parents had a heart attack. And then I brought a book home on Satanism. Only because of the fact of the matter.
I read The Exorcist, and my mom found it in my room, and I think I was in trouble.
And it wasn't, I didn't want to practice Satanism. I was like going, because I was looking at it, what do these loony people believe?
Right.
You know what I mean? I was curious, and I was always taught, know your enemy. And my dad, and I don't blame him. I'm not mad at my dad at all, but I had to take the book back. They drove me right back to the library.
Oh, my word.
And I had to check them all back in. And I get that, looking back, I get that and understand the fear of it. And again, because it comes into that manifestation.
Right.
So my parents were afraid by me, to a point, looking into this stuff, I was going to manifest this stuff into the house.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, probably the scariest book I ever read was probably the Amityville Horror. If you've never read it, that book will absolutely. And I, as a teenager, that creeped me out. I slept with my lights on in my bedroom for like a week and a half.
Yeah, amazing stuff that can come into your brain as an adolescent and plant those seeds.
Yep. But again, too, though, it was a fact of the matter that I knew that it was, in Amity, New York. I knew it was Amityville, New York. I knew it wasn't in Amity. I said, Jaws reference. It was Amityville. But the fact of the matter, what this family had gone through, and everybody can say, they made it up, they did this, they did that. But there's been a whole bunch of research and a whole bunch of investigation gone through the house to kind of prove to me that it has been haunted. There is something weird that's taking place there. Before I should do an episode on the Amityville. I really should. I mean, I researched it on up. Maybe that'll be the next one we do besides vampires. We'll do the Amityville Horror. Okay. All right, Jacob, Sam.
So let me ask you something.
Okay, fire away.
So are you the only person in your family that's sensitive? Is it not generational? I mean, for me, it's generational.
Well, I don't know. And the reason why is because my mom, so the first shadow person, look, I'm being interviewed. The first shadow person encounter I had was with my mom.
Uh-huh.
And
did she see it first?
Yes.
So did you see it like simultaneously in different?
So we're sitting together and my little sister was a baby and she was asleep. And we were sitting in the living room on the floor watching TV. You remember the old big heavy TVs that, like, if it fell on you, it was going to kill you? It'd take, like, 5 people to lift them. And we were watching Benny Hill. And I talk about this on Uncomfortable Podcast and Cryptids of Corn. Shout out to you guys. Love you guys. Eric, Justin, and Jay. Y'all are great. But my mom kept looking around. And then my mom made a gasping sound, which caught my attention. And I turned my head, and we saw a shadow figure come out. Now, the funny part is, though, we describe it 2 different ways. I have my memory of what I saw, and my mom has her memory of what she saw. So we saw the same thing, but we have 2 different versions of what we saw, which goes back into the pareidolia thing of what your brain's going to comprehend. And I think that ties in with a lot with shadow people, to where if we see a shadow person, you're going to describe it one way, I'll describe it another way, because of what our brain is processing of something that should not be there.
Right.
And it's trying to put it into a spot for us to, we're not going to go, we just saw a shadow person, and we're not going to all have the same experience.
Right.
So we described 2 different things, and I remember we watched it come through together and go through the apartment that we were living in. And my mom jumped up and ran in and got my little sister when it went into the room where my little sister was at. And we sat there in front of the TV until about 1 o'clock in the morning when my grandma showed up. Now, this is like 79, 80 time frame. And no cell phones, nothing like that at all. My mom didn't call my grandma. My mom was hearing her father's voice, and he had passed on when I was born. He passed away. And so she was hearing his voice calling her name. And she remembered, and I didn't hear this. She did. My grandma had remarried at this point in time, and to a great guy, wonderful guy. I mean, that was my grandpa. And he had gone to bed, and my grandma was like, she knew something, because I asked my grandma years later about it, and she said that she said Jack, that was her husband's name, she felt him around her, and that something was wrong with my mom. Mm-hmm. And my aunt was working swing shifts, and so when she got off work and she showed up at my grandparents' house, her and my aunt drove straight to our apartment.
Right.
Didn't call, didn't make a phone call, go, hey, you okay? No, they just show up.
Right.
So it may be generational on my mom's side. I don't know, but my mom, who's probably
ladies,
listening to this episode right now, I love you, Mom.
So, ladies, your mother, your aunt, your mom, your grandmother's age, because I'm, probably your mom's age or close to it.
No, you're not.
Well,
my mom's older.
Well, I mean, I'm closer to it.
Sorry, Mom.
And then my mom's in her 80s. I mean, there's a generational thing where you just really don't speak about it as women. I know women don't, generally. Back in the day, now I'll talk about it, whatever, I'll speak about it all day long. But it wasn't until decades later that my mom and I were having conversations and we were having the same things happen at the same time.
Yeah, see, what my parents don't realize is that when I get the other microphone, and I'm going to their house, and I'm going to record them, and we're going to do an episode about all the hauntings that we went through as kids.
Right.
And the Bigfoot encounter my mom had. Yes, Mom had a Bigfoot encounter.
So.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Love your mom.
So then my son is super, super sensitive. He's even more sensitive, I think, than I am. Or remember Gettysburg with the names?
Gettysburg? Hold on. We've gone from...
No, Shiloh.
Okay.
No, it was Shiloh. Sorry, it wasn't
right.
Gettysburg. It was Shiloh.
Okay, we're gonna do a part 2 to this, Miss Karen. We're just so gonna do a part 2 to this. I can tell you that right now.
Like my son went to the battlefield and he named off all these names, and I thought, well, I better write these down. So I was writing them down, and we researched them, and they were all people that had died at that battlefield.
Oh, this is after he dipped his finger.
Okay,
Yeah,
we're
he
gonna
dipped his finger in the bloody pond. That's it. Yeah.
All right, so this is what we're gonna do. We are going to do a part 2. Are you down for a part 2?
I guess so.
What do you mean you guess
Twist
so?
my arm. I guess I'll do it.
All right. We're gonna do a part 2. So we're gonna get ready to wrap the show up. All right. For the night. So we're going to leave a part 2 so that way, yes, y'all got to listen for more.
Does that mean I have to come back?
Well, you don't want to come back on the deck? Come on, it's
Oh,
Friday
I'm
night.
teasing you.
I know.
I'm just messing.
I know. If we have to, we'll show up at your place and I'll bring all the equipment with me and we'll sit out there on your deck.
Hey, I promise our cicadas will be just as loud or louder than yours.
You know what? It's the year of the cicadas. It really is. But you know what, though? We're outside.
Cool.
It's the whole point of the Drunken Cryptids is to be outside, to have a good time and enjoy each other.
Yep.
So I'm so grateful you came on board. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome.
I mean
as
that.
disjointed as it all is.
I mean that. Did you have a good time?
I did.
Good.
I did.
I appreciate everything.
I can always tell a good story. No, I'm teasing.
That's the whole point of this. I appreciate you coming on board, and you've got a lot more to tell. So we're going to do a part 2 with you.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
That works? All right. Well, you guys, I appreciate y'all for listening in to another episode of the Drunken Cryptids. Y'all have been great. I appreciate it. Please like and share the show. The more you get us out there, the more encounters we can get for you. Don't forget the Arkansas Paranormal Expo, October 26th and 27th of this year in our Lord 2024. Until then, y'all stay safe. I appreciate it. Keep liking and sharing us, you guys. Follow us, Spotify, Instagram. Yes, we're on Instagram now. Spotify, Instagram, Facebook. Let's see here. YouTube, iHeartRadio. We're not on Apple yet. Let's see here. Am I forgetting anybody? I'm sure in all your podcast platforms, you guys. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, all of it. I appreciate everything you guys have done. Thank you guys. The audience, y'all are wonderful. Appreciate it. So until next time, y'all stay safe out there.